A large corporation like HMC has over 22,000 employees and assets all around the country. It's very important that if we run a single model of care over multiple sites, that we have to have standards that all of the buildings are applied to so that the service can be run consistently across those sites. One of the great difficulties is buildings built at different times, through different leadership, through different models of care, sometimes are configured differently. We need to be able to put these together in a rational way and have them working so that the single service can be delivered across multiple sites. That's one of the DSF's primary goals. The inspiration behind starting the DSF was born out of a large capital program that we were doing here at HMC for the tertiary hospital. We found that we had all of these amazing clinicians from around the world who had differing points of view on the model of care, how services should be configured, and we needed a way to reconcile these pieces. We also had a lot of IP that was being generated out of the individual projects that was being lost, and we found that we were having to start over all again. All of this information, all of this work needed a place to go.
It went from establishing a vision, guiding principles, both clinical and facilities, to developing plans for different sites, for considering buildings that were required, and how we were going to go about briefing these facilities. The need for consistent and clear briefing, making sure all of our facilities were developed to the highest standard, that they would be future ready, and that they would be resilient, sustainable, and would remain high functioning facilities well into the future.
We established the need for 4 different categories of information. It was planning information, which is largely quite a restricted audience in terms of access to that information, but this was the information that identified future need, which drove change, and typically used by the strategists and planners, in this case within HMC, to organise their thinking, to look at what their future demands might be and how they need to shape their facilities. You then need function and operations, and function operations is where you document all the policies. How does a hospital that is owned and operated by HMC function? How does it work? What are the different policies and regimes that they adopt and use in the day-to-day operation of the facility? Third section is the design information, by far and away the most used part of the development standards framework. Here, this is where all the generic design guidance exists and is the kind of go-to for designers. And it refers and it cross-refers to the function and operations section as the kind of source of background information which informs a designer if they look at the design section saying, why has that actually been done in that way? You can go back to across to the function operations, you can see, I see, that's because the hospital works in this way. The 4th section is the site section, and that's the home of current master plans. So a master plan will be updated, it will be put in the site section. You'll go to the relevant site section for your site, you'll find the current master plan, and in there will be a mixture of traditional drawings, 3D, asset inventories and so forth for that site. It'll also have information that deals specifically with that site. So it might have population data, it might have utility loads and so forth. And that site section will be cross-referenced to the design section, which will provide the overarching generic information.
The user is able to go in and see everything that's on offer right off the bat. They can see from the planning section, from functional organizational, from design, the entire piece. The second is a single scrollable page with a left-hand navigation. Again, this is about putting all the information in one spot while still allowing you to see where else you can go if you need further research on that. The user is able to bookmark, place their own single page, and find information quickly when they're working on a project. They can even make project groups when they're putting on multiple projects. And most importantly, direct feedback to the client management team. This enables the user to quickly highlight any mistakes or anywhere they might disagree with the DSF is brought back to the client team, and the client team can take it either to the appropriate people to fix or to put it through a governance process to change the DSF so that it's always using the most recent agreed information.
The feedback loop is just vital when you create something like this, and the agility that's built into the platform is vital, because these things live or die on the currency of the information. You have to be able to flag up a problem with a particular piece of guidance, and the folks who are looking after that content need to be able to update it very, very quickly. If people feel that the content is never updated, or it's more than a month or two out of date, then people stop going there and they start making copies of things that sit on shelves, and it loses its live currency.
By using iterative change, it means that we're always moving forward with the best baseline and ending the project with a higher set of standards than we started with. The DSF has been a game changer for HMC. We now have a single set of information that we're either able to implement immediately or challenge and put through a governance process. By doing so, we're able to move forward without restarting the projects project by project every time, starting from zero. This allows us to start from a higher level, and every project we add that IP and are able to move forward. Importantly, it allows people to challenge the information that's in there immediately and put it to the right people for correction or for change.